What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the RD5 Seahawks podcast. My name is Ryan Dugan, aka RD5. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to sort of just my final thoughts and overall interpretations of, our Seattle Seahawks taking on the Indianapolis Colts this past Sunday. But without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. So I'll go ahead and start on the defensive side of the football, which is where our Seattle Seahawks ended up starting off the game this last Sunday against the Colts. We won the toss and elected to defer to the second half. And we lined up without LJ Collier starting the game off. I end up thinking that this is a great call personally, just because in the preseason, LJ Collier wasn't necessarily a guy that I was seeing getting the quarterback. There wasn't a lot of, pass rush moves and counter moves when his first move sort of didn't work. It was just a bull rush going right into the offensive lineman and just not a lot of production from him getting in and around the quarterback. I know John Schneider alluded to it in a pregame interview he did. He was just talking about how, we, in our game plan specifically, is what he was talking about against the Colts. We did want to have a little bit more speed out there, so it was a coach's decision to not play LJ Collier. For whatever that's worth, I do think we made the right decision because of the mass amount of production that we got from our defensive line. Thus, obviously, seeming like a good move for us to do as well. But, we do end up starting off with, it's going to be Carlos Dunlap, Poona Ford, Al Woods, and then Kerry Hyder. We're going to be our front four to sort of start off the game. And, those four key starters combined with, depth pieces, of the likes of Alton Robinson and Rasheem Green had a great game. Darrell Taylor was amazing. And Benson Mayoa even had a great game as well, too, getting a sack back there. So our D-line really did a great job hitting the quarterback. 3 sacks, 10 quarterback hits, and 4 tackles for loss from our defensive line is an outstanding first game to use as a base point in order to get even better at the same time. But I think the biggest takeaway from our defensive line group as a whole was the fact that we were able to rotate a bunch of different pieces into our, either our cheetah package, on third down to get some speed out there, or just, Al Woods and Brian Monet just being big bodies in the middle of our defensive line, doing a really nice job in our run scheme of, just plugging up the gaps and even getting to the quarterback and rushing the passer on pass downs. That rotation in general just really helped, everybody rushing the quarterback, just keeping them fresh, making sure that when they were in, they were getting to the quarterback. We were just able to send waves and always competing on every play like, Pete's mantra is, and getting the best 11 guys on the field that are, going to produce and make the most plays. Again, maybe that lack of production by LJ Collier was the reason why he wasn't playing in this game as well. Rolling over to our two, safeties on the back end back there, I think Quandre Diggs did an outstanding job, and that dude needs to get paid. He needs to stay with the Seahawks past this 2021 season. For him to do what he's doing, playing, 15, 20 yards back behind the ball, playing that deep middle safety role and being able to come down and hit people 2 to 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. He's just a missile coming down from that deep middle safety position. And you could see it yesterday. Clearly a couple times he, was, getting to either the running back, Naheem Hines, or it was Jonathan Taylor, who is a handful and is a load to take down. You saw it even just on a couple third and shorts where he was, bullying over different people, and Quandre Diggs was coming down from his deep middle safety position and was punishing people. You absolutely love to see it. Haven't seen somebody play that deep middle position like that since Earl Thomas, to be completely frank with you. And I think with Jamal Adams, it was, positive for us as Seahawks fans to see him not just playing in and around the box, but him being able to play back as a safety as well too, and seeing him back in coverage and, just having a better understanding and a better grasp for our scheme and where he needs to be and just where his teammates are going to be too, having that trust in them and in him. And that exact same chemistry is the reason why, I feel like our Seahawks defense didn't give up any big plays and they didn't let anything behind them. Both Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams both did an excellent job of keeping everything in front of them, and just rallying to tackle rather than, letting anything get behind them. Those two really just had a great game all around. But you can obviously see how great of a tandem that Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, those two safeties back there roaming the middle of the field, is going to be quite a sight to see for the rest of the year for the Seahawks. And speaking of duos in the middle of the field, I mean, it doesn't get much better than our linebackers as well. Jordan Brooks coming out there and playing extremely well in his second year, and then the future, first ballot Hall of Famer, Bobby Wagner, doing his thing in his 9th+ year with 100+ tackles is extremely impressive. It's just going to be so exciting, to see those two work in the middle of the field and feed off each other's and just really be that glue for our front seven. When our defensive line is spilling everything to our linebackers, Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks are making that tackle. And we saw exactly that on Sunday. Bobby Wagner had 13 tackles and Jordan Brooks had 11 tackles. Double-digit tackles for our two linebackers is, the perfect way to start off a first game. So for our defense as a whole to perform really well against a formidable rushing attack, with Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor, it was definitely a positive for our defense to start off the season. And with all that being said, I will say that obviously it's still seeming like our cornerback position is the position in which we are, I would say, the least confident in when it comes to, different position groups on the Seahawks right now. And with that being said, I don't necessarily think that DJ Reed did, anything wrong, during Sunday's game against the Colts. I think he did a great job of, playing our scheme correctly. Obviously, we run a lot of, cover 3 zone, and he was able to really shut down his side of the field. He also got in on a nice fumble recovery on that quarterback sneak, wrestling the ball away from Jonathan Taylor, just being scrappy in there. I think DJ Reed didn't play poorly in Sunday's game. Moving over to Trey Flowers, though, although he was, in the right position on some of the plays where, the offensive receiver was making a catch over him, we did also see some of that old Trey Flowers of, previous years of just getting beat right off the line of scrimmage. There was one play down at the goal line when Zach Pascal ended up making the touchdown catch where he's running a skinny post, and he just beats Trey Flowers immediately off the ball. Trey tries to get hands on him and just kind of whiffs. And then Zach Pascal kind of, stems up vertical, sticks his left foot in the ground, and, gets 3 or 4 yards of separation on Trey Flowers. And as that did obviously happen on a cover 0 look where we blitzed Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs into the backfield, it was going to be all on Trey Flowers to win that one-on-one matchup. And, he just couldn't do that against Zach Pascal. So, in a really tough NFC West division, it's going to be tough to, have that confidence in him to make a play against a DeAndre Hopkins or a Cooper Kupp or, any number of receivers. With that being said as well, there were quite a few examples at the same time of, Trey Flowers coming down and hitting Jonathan Taylor in the backfield and just being solid, in run support. I'm just not sure if that run support is going to be enough for him to keep and sustain that job. He's got Sidney Jones playing right behind him, cornerback from the Jacksonville Jaguars that the Seattle Seahawks just recently traded for and acquired. There's obviously John Reed, who we got from the Houston Texans a few weeks ago as well, who's going to be competing at the spot, and Bless Austin, who also, on tape really jumps out at his run support as well, too. Intrigued to see how he's going to play on the outside, but, once they fit into the scheme and learn the playbook, we'll sort of see how that all plays out. But I wasn't too confident in our cornerback play from yesterday, and that was probably the weakest point of any of the 3 phases that the Seattle Seahawks sort of faced yesterday as well. And so admittedly as well too, because I'm somebody that played the receiver position from Little League football all the way up and through college, I'm definitely an offensive-minded person. So, when I say this, it doesn't come lightly. Our offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, really impressed me, purely in his ability to remain unpredictable the entire game. And it was something that Seattle Seahawks fans have struggled with Darrell Bevell and Brian Schottenheimer just last year. But the fact that we have seemingly, obviously it's just one game, but the fact that we have an offensive coordinator who's going to continue to keep the defense on their toes, not allow them to, know what's going to happen before the play and we're just going to run it and hope it's a positive play. There doesn't seem to be any more of that. I absolutely fell in love with the fact that there was multiple first downs in which we, were running play action rather than just running straight up run plays. And even when we were running, run plays on first down, they were jet sweeps or they were misdirection, back to Chris Carson. There was pre-snap motion, all the things that help a quarterback out and help the quarterback determine what the coverage is going to be and even set up future plays for that matter as well, too. And helping the quarterback dissect, what is the defense going to give me on this play? Or, in this formation, how is the defense going to come out and line up? I think that's, it just goes back to the fact that Shane Waldron, schemed up a great offensive game plan. And furthermore, I really think that, Shane Waldron's ability to stay ahead of schedule, and when I say ahead of schedule, I mean, ahead of the sticks. In terms of, on 1st and 10, you want to be at least picking up 4 to 6 yards, depending on if it's a run or a pass play, for it to be a positive play. And, so many times we were picking up 4 to 6 yards on first down because of, it was a play action or it was a misdirection run, or it just wasn't a straight up run in a run formation and it wasn't a straight up pass in a pass formation. We just used that unpredictability to stay ahead of the schedule, stay ahead of the sticks. And we utilize, the fact that we can line up in the same formation and, window dress, like, the same play is sort of coming to the defense, and we can run something completely different off of that. And that goes into, how I love that he was aggressive on second down and trying to pick up the first down on second down. And the main reason I'm harping on this is because Seahawks fans obviously know that in years past, if we had a good first down, then we were just going to run the ball on second down to get in a little, more manageable third down. And, over the years, that just consistently drove me crazy because, as an offensive guy, it's like you got to be aggressive and you got to play to win rather than playing not to lose. And that's so often what I feel like our offensive coordinators' mindsets were in the past, was they were, playing not to lose rather than playing to win and being aggressive and trying to score a touchdown on every drive. And with that being said as well, I counted 2 drives going back and watching the films yesterday. 2 separate scoring drives for that matter as well, where our offense never even got to third down. We were moving the ball down the field with such ease because, we were being aggressive on first and second down rather than waiting for third down to, throw the ball. It wasn't run, pass like we've seen so often in the past. And it, just takes so much pressure off the offense in terms of, we don't have to even attempt third downs. We're just moving the ball. It helps the rhythm, the up tempo that we were seeing yesterday as well, too, was working out brilliantly. Long story short, Russell Wilson and Shane Waldron were cooking yesterday. Like, Pete joked at in his post-game interview there, but they were definitely in sync, definitely on the same page, and, looking like they're in midseason form. Russell played absolutely lights out. He had 2 or 3 of his 5 incompletions total that were, just throwaways so that he wasn't taking a sack. One of those sacks that he even did have was, their very last offensive play when they were just trying to run down the clock and kick the ball away. So, our offensive line 100% showed up and showed out, whether it was running the ball with Chris Carson or, it was giving Russell enough time. Now, the area offensively that I think that, we can most improve on in the future is, still going to be the offensive line. There was just, 2 third down instances specifically that I can think of looking back at the film where, Russell was just hurried. in terms of, when he wanted to throw the ball. And they were both third and manageables. One was a 3rd and 4, one was a 3rd and 6. That first 3rd and 4 was in the first half where he tries to go to Freddie Swain and just sort of skips it. He wasn't able to step into his throw and put enough on it to get it there. And a second one, he was also a little hurried. He was able to step up in the pocket, but the Colts were already rolling their safety towards DK Metcalf on the wide side of the field there, and he tries to hit DK on a nice nine route or a go route, and just misses him outside because the Colts defense does a good job of disguising their defense, and if they're rolling to DK Metcalf, he's covered. He's just trying to get the ball away and not take a sack, but. Yes, it is still going to be our offensive line that, offensively is the place where we can improve on the most. And I could not make this whole video without talking about my unsung hero from Sunday, and that was Gerald Everett's incredible ability to block out in space on the perimeter. Pitches to the running back, to Chris Carson, in which he was, reaching either a cornerback on the outside or trying to seal in a linebacker. Just his football IQ and where he puts his body in between, the ball carrier and the defender trying to tackle him. He just does a masterful job of, knowing, where the running back is at and putting his body in the way and finishing off blocks. He just did a really, really good job of playing physical at the line of scrimmage. And I just can't talk enough about this guy as a pickup. Obviously, he had the touchdown as well, too. He had a few other key catches. He had one, screen as well that got called back for a holding penalty, but we ended up, Russell ended up connecting with Tyler Lockett on a 69-yard bomb towards the end of the half there as well. But, Gerald Everett, along with Will Dissly as well, the tight ends were, definitely utilized more than they were in the past. And I think that that's going to help our offensive consistency as a whole. I think Tyler Lockett was the one that was talking about it the most in his post-game interview. Is he was just saying, it doesn't matter who they cover. Obviously, they were rolling a bunch of coverages to DK Metcalf, and that left Tyler Lockett open. And once they were trying to cover both of them, then there's Gerald Everett, and there's Will Dissly, and there's Freddie Swain, and there's Chris Carson and DJ Dallas out of the backfield. And there's just such a plethora of different weapons that Russell Wilson has never had in his 9+ years as, the Seattle Seahawks franchise quarterback. So, man, I just cannot be more excited about, Shane Waldron and Russell Wilson working together, and, the chemistry that they already have is jumping off the screen. So I just can't wait to see what more they cook up with each other, because again, I know that Russell Wilson had mentioned as well that Shane Waldron, is a wizard, is what he said, to quote Russell. But I can't talk enough about Shane Waldron's play calling yesterday. When you're getting an offense into a rhythm like he was yesterday, the tight end screens he's calling on first down, the numerous amounts of play action he did on first down just to break the tendencies of what Seattle's offense has been in previous years. It was just such an amazing job. The cover two and man cover zero beaters that they had in their offense. It was quite the sight to see. Even on that 3rd and 6 where Tyler Lockett has to, contort his body and, make this sort of circus catch, if you will, to score the touchdown. It was a dime from Russell Wilson and a fantastic adjustment by Tyler Lockett, too. And on another great scheme up, by Shane Waldron, we split Gerald Everett, our tight end, out at the receiver position because he's versatile like that. And he runs just a little shallow cross, across the middle. He's the first crosser in front of an all-pro linebacker, Darius Leonard's path in his zone. Then you got Tyler Lockett in the slot running a little whip route and coming back inside as well too, and that makes Darius Leonard freeze because he has two guys flooding his zone at the same time, and it's just pick your poison for Russell Wilson. He's going to make that right decision every time, and that's what's so exciting about our offense too, man. And it's what I love about the NFL in itself. It's such a chess match of opposing offensive and defensive coordinators and breaking tendencies at certain times, and knowing what the defense is going to give you, in certain formations or for certain personnel, and using that against them. That's what's so fun about football. That's why I love the game, and it's why I'm so excited about our 2021 Seattle Seahawks. And then one more time, 12s. I just cannot talk about how excited I am for this upcoming season for the Seattle Seahawks. Shane Waldron and Russell Wilson are cooking. Our defense is looking very solid at the same time as well too. So just a lot of positives coming out of week one, and that's what makes this week so exciting. And on that note, once again, I appreciate y'all for watching. Drop me a like on the video if we, appreciated the video. Subscribe if we appreciate the content and sort of want to see more. But once again, this has been RD5. Thanks for watching. I love y'all. Go Hawks.